Police are carrying out a crime-combating operation today to enforce law and order under the Level 3 lockdown. Several roadblocks have been set up around the province's COVID-19 and serious crime hotspots. Some arrests have already been made, and eNCA's Michael Appel joins me now for an update. And Michael, tell me where you are at the moment in terms of the operation that has been carried out. Is it part of what government calls Operation Ukai Mulau, and what is the focus today?
Yeah, that's right. It's part of the safer festive season anti-crime operation that is taking place across the province, across the country over the festive period. Some of the roadblocks focus on COVID regulations, some are simply anti-crime. So since about 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning, I've been out with the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng, Lieutenant General ELIAS MAWELA, at various roadblocks where there have been some successes, number of stolen vehicles recovered, hijacked vehicles, some undocumented migrants, some people dealing in marijuana that were arrested. There have also been a kind of community engagement walkabouts where General MAWELA has walked about. There's literally a loud hailer that accompanies him, and they are encouraging people to wear masks, to social distance, to have hand sanitizer available. They're checking for stolen goods, illicit goods, drugs, unlicensed firearms. They're stopping any vehicle on a patrol, on a foot patrol. They'll stop any vehicle and say, whoa, and they check the VIN number, chassis number, they check the boot, they check for licenses. And then they call in the tracker, which is a private company that's working in conjunction with the South African Police Service. And we were at a chop shop earlier, a number of stolen vehicles recovered there, or parts of stolen vehicles, should I say. But I earlier spoke to Lieutenant General ELIAS MAWELA about this particular area, Ivory Park, and why it's a hotspot and what today's operations have achieved. Listen in.
This area which you have chosen, it's a problematic area in terms of the serious and violence crime. It's one of our hotspots, Ivory Park. So we felt that we must come here and stamp the authority of the state. And we are happy that we are achieving what we came for. Because in this roadblock, we've already recovered 4 positively identified stolen vehicles whereby the VIN numbers, the chassis numbers were being tampered with. We have just witnessed somebody dealing with DACA was arrested, trying to escape, recaptured again. And we have some few undocumented people also arrested. This one behind me, you know, and they are all over. I want to find that he's traveling now with the fraudulent, license disc and so forth. So I think we are achieving our objective, but I'll be failing if I don't inform the people of Gauteng to say from yesterday morning until this morning, 110 GBV perpetrators are behind bars.
What's the bigger picture story there, Michael, in terms of how operations like these help in terms of, reversing the trend in as far as crime is concerned? What is the General MAWELA saying about what's the bigger picture? Because it's one thing to be enforcing, COVID regulations, compliance, and ensuring that people are wearing their masks, etc., and not breaching those regulations. But we have a bigger problem of crime in this country and in Gauteng in particular.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked him this question, is today about COVID enforcement? And he said, no, today is actually about serious and violent crimes and cracking down on that. He says there has to be a balance. And the curfew, some of the officers I've spoken to have said that the implementation of the curfew as well as the booze ban, those two have led to a serious reduction in the number of crimes that they are seeing, and especially the curfew, if that was to remain in place, some of the officers feel, obviously not the 9 until 6 a.m., but something a little lighter. But the curfew is certainly helping police officers and keeping people off the roads between those critical sort of crime hotspot hours. But the bigger picture here is about community awareness, knowing that they can trust the police, And you have the provincial police commissioner walking into stores shaking, well, no longer shaking hands, giving people the elbow and just inviting them to cooperate with police and do everything they can to make their communities a little bit safer. So, you know, using the opportunity of a time like this where there are crackdowns on certain things that are believed to lead to greater crime levels in particular areas, alcohol being one of them, and people being out on the streets another, using that to be able to go into those communities that are recognized by police as crime hotspots, and they're working with partners. They have a very successful partnership with Tracker. I spoke to some of the Tracker guys. They've been out at roadblocks since 4 o'clock this morning. They've had a number of successes. So it's a sense of working together and getting out on the roads, speaking to people, making sure their presence is felt.
Lastly, Michael, one of the issues we are reporting about is the arrest of people in connection with violence against women. What is the focus of this operation, and how are they driving that message forward in as far as that particular epidemic of our country is concerned?
So I asked the general off camera this figure of 110 people who were arrested. He said these are people that a complaint had been laid, and within 24 hours the detective services had followed up and had made arrests. And I mean, that's quite remarkable, and that's something that he's incredibly proud of. The fact that 110 perpetrators who will go through the legal system, and you know, innocent until proven guilty, but there is enough evidence to be able to arrest somebody once a complaint has been laid. And within a 24-hour period after a complaint has been laid, 110 people behind bars. He feels that's something that's really to be proud of from the police's part. That's why he just threw it in as an aside. It wasn't really the focus of today's operations, but it's going on across the province.
All right, thank you for that update. That's eNCA's Michael Appel there out in Ivory Park in Tembisa there. And of course, we must never, ever drop the ball, right? Because we may be dealing with COVID-19 and compliance with regulations, and that seems to be, you know, foremost in our minds. Hey, we have problems. We had problems even before COVID-19, and the violence in this country against women and children is one of those major problems that we continue to face. So we must continue to have focus on that.